Good morning. How are we doing today? I hope you're doing amazing. I hope you're doing fantastic. I want to see the best for you. And I hope you also see that you can have what you want. So, yeah. So, today my message is if anybody asks, tell them I went to chase after a life that I didn't have to shrink for. And today, I'm not gonna say much. I'm just gonna read because sometimes I just write down what I feel and I'm going to read it, and then maybe if I have an additional point I'm going to just add it because yeah. And it's so hard, like I find that it's kind of hard scripting because if I script I'm going to pour everything on the paper, and also when I speak now referring to the script, sometimes it's like I can't get the points right, or I find another perspective. And because I want to do this purposely for this one, and I hope it's going to be of help to you because it's going to help me because these are just my thoughts and things I have overcome over time. And yeah, let's chase the life that we don't have to shrink for. We are going to be accepted as a whole. Like, you don't have to change a thing about yourself. I remember, like, yesterday I went on a walk and I was on this path. Like, I normally pass through this path each and every time, but I have never stood to like just admire the beauty of it. So the land is like, it's like it's like a hill. So it is covered by this green vegetation, and I was like, wow, this is so pretty from the outside because you cannot really see what is underneath because it's all covered up with vegetation. And so it's like diving into the unknown because, for instance, I'm so used to like shrinking myself just to fit in with others or to just be acceptable to everybody. But now I'm choosing to like not be accepted, not to be liked, but to be respected. So yeah. So let's begin because I'm just so excited. So the title of today is If Anyone Asks, I Left to Chase a Life I Didn't Have to Shrink for. And it starts like this. I grew tired of it all, for settling and conforming because at the time it was my safest option. I never knew anything beyond that. I learned to survive and hid the real person that I was. I had to play small, to fit in, to befriend anyone. Sometimes I even thought I was too much or too little. I wanted to be chosen so bad that it didn't matter to me if I had to lower my standards or shrink myself just to be acceptable and digestible to those I wanted close to me. Like like if I wanted you or if I wanted to be your friend, like it didn't matter that you are not the normal person or the normal like choice I would go for, but because I wanted to, I was just like, I'll just take it. And so I watched others have better, all the things that I yearned for, and I almost believed I was not made for that. I was okay with settling with good enough until I was pulled away from good enough and my eyes were opened to the fact that I could also get better. Like, it is all about what you believe. If you believe that you're okay with good enough, but let me tell you, it has to happen. Like, something has to happen for you to know that there is more than good enough and you cannot settle for good enough. And so I just not settle for good enough because I realized that there was better and I was also capable of getting the better. And it started off as a small belief. I ran with it even though on some days I was clouded with doubt. From that moment, I knew I didn't want to settle or conform to anyone's reality. I didn't just want the good enough, I wanted more than that, and it didn't matter if I had to wait a little longer to have it. Because good things always come from waiting, but not waiting for people who you think have. The people that you see have potential and you're waiting on them to act on their potential. No! Until they decide they want to change, that is when it's going to happen. And so, yeah, now the waiting part was not the easiest, But the more I refused to settle and shrink back to who I was, the more I trusted myself. I knew that I wanted a fulfilled life, a life that allowed me to operate in my wholeness, a life that I did not have to dim my light, a life that I did not have to shrink for or play small, a life that I did not have to tone down to be digestible. I knew I wanted a life that embraced me for who I was, and so I chose to chase after it. And so, yeah, it's not yet over. And so, if anyone asks, tell them I left to chase a life I didn't have to shrink for. And that is my message for today. Don't settle for good enough. Don't settle just because everyone else is settling and you don't feel a single bit of doing that. If you want something different, something that is unheard and unknown to you and everyone else, but you see others doing it, why not give it a try? It's not going to hurt you to try. The best thing you could do is say that I tried and failed, rather than saying I wanted to but I didn't get to do it. Why? Don't limit yourself. Go for what you want, alright? And that is my end for today. That is my take for today. I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.